All right, guys, we're coming off another 3-in-1 day in my 4 personal sports bets on my website yesterday. But before we get into some more of that, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the video here today for Saturday, July 30th, 2022. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. And once again, guys, I went 3-in-1 in my 4 personal bets on that website yesterday. I'm also 3-0 my last 3 extra daily bets on that site as well. And if you want to unlock my extra daily bet here for today, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. Now, the link for that play is in the description section below. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. What I do on patreon.com/BrockPage is I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. Let's take a look at the Guardians squaring off against the Rays. 1:10 Eastern first pitch. Tampa Bay is -130, total 7.5. Corey Kluber for Tampa Bay, Zach Plesac for Cleveland. Now, Plesac is having one tough year for Cleveland. He's just 2-8 on the season with an ERA in the 4s. The Guardians have also been little threat hitting the long ball this year. They're actually in the bottom 3 in homers per contest. They're also taking on Corey Kluber for the Rays, who's got a 1.14 whip and an ERA still in the 3s. And that really should come as no surprise, as this Rays pitching staff is one of the better ones in the American League. They're actually in the top 10 in the entire major leagues in opponents' batting average, and they're allowing only 3.9 runs a game. Now, when it comes to the total, Tampa Bay saw 3 out of their last 4 home games get over the number. Meanwhile, Cleveland's gone 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Tampa Bay -130 in the over 7.5. Next game, Royals-Yankees, 2:05 p.m. East. The New York Yankees are -310, totals 8.5. Nestor Cortes for New York, Johnny Heasley for Kansas City. Now, Big John's got just 1 win on the year, along with an ERA of 5.50. Now, the Royals have also lost their last 4 straight, and they were shut out 3 times during that span. They're also taking on Nestor Cortes, who remains quite dominant. The lefty's 8-3 with a 2.48 ERA and a 1.00 whip. Now, Cortes also has 106 strikeouts and just over 101 innings. And if for some reason Cortes doesn't bring his A game, well, we're still looking at a Yankee lineup who can outscore anyone. They're leading the majors in homers and runs per contest. Aaron Judge has a league-leading 41 home runs, along with a league-best 89 RBI. When it comes to the number, 8 out of these teams' last 10 head-to-head meetings did get over the total, so if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. The Yankees are also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 outings themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Yankees -1.5 and the over 8.5. Next game, Tigers, Blue Jays, 3:07 East. Toronto's -290, totals 8.5. Ross Stripling for the Jays, Drew Hutchison for Detroit. Now, Hutch has just 1 win on the year, along with an ERA close to 5. And even if he pitches well here today, he may not get the run support he needs. The Tigers are scoring fewer runs a game than any other team in the majors. They're also dead last in hitting the long ball. Now, they're going up against Ross Stripling here today, who's having a solid year himself. The righty's got an ERA in the low 3s, along with a 1.10 whip. When it comes to offensive production, this Jays lineup can really pound the baseball. They're in the top 3 in scoring, and they also have the highest team batting average in the league. Alejandro Kirk's hitting a team-best .315 at the dish. Meanwhile, Vladdy's the team leader in homers and RBI. Now, when it comes to the total, 5 out of Toronto's last 8 ball games fell under the posted total. Meanwhile, Detroit saw their last 3 straight fall under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Toronto -1.5 and the under 8.5. Next game, Brewers, Red Sox, 4:10 Eastern first pitch. Now, both teams are -110, pretty much a coin flip in this one. Totals at 10 runs. Eric Lauer for Milwaukee, Nick Pivetta for Boston. Now, Pivy's lost 7 games on the season for the Bo Sox, and he's got a 4.35 ERA. Now, the Bo Sox also continue to lose ball games. They dropped 8 out of their last 10. They gave up an absurd amount of runs during that span. They're also taking on a Brewers lineup who can certainly light up the scoreboard themselves. These guys are in the top 5 in home runs, top 10 in OPS. Rowdy Tellez is the club leader in RBI with 64 of them. Meanwhile, Willy Adames has a team-best 20 slams on the year. And even if these guys do end up having problems with Pivetta, they've got a good one in Eric Lauer on the bump here today. The lefty's 6-3 this year for Milwaukee, along with a 3.84 ERA and 103 strikeouts. Now, total-wise, 6 out of Milwaukee's last 10 ball games got over the line. They're also 8-5 to the over in their last 13 divisional contests. I'm going to lean, or is that divisional? Interleague contest, excuse me. I'm going to lean toward Milwaukee -110 and the over 10 runs. Next matchup, Mets, Marlins, 6:10 Eastern first pitch. Now, this game's currently off the board. Carlos Carrasco for New York. Nick Neidert making his season debut for Miami. Now, this isn't his career debut. Neidert is no stranger to the big leagues. He actually threw innings for Miami in both 2020 and 2021. Having said that, though, they really weren't great innings. The youngster has a 4.70 career ERA and 44 total innings of work. The Marlins also have a tough time at the plate. Not only are they in the bottom 5 in OPS, they're one of the lowest scoring teams in the National League. They're also facing Carlos Carrasco here today, who's got double-digit wins on the year, along with 101 strikeouts. Now, Carrasco's also backed by a New York lineup who makes solid contact with the baseball. They're in the top 5 in fewest strikeouts at the dish, and they have one of the better team batting averages in the National League. Pete Alonso's second in the bigs with 84 runs batted in. The first baseman also finds himself 5th in the majors with 26 home runs. I'm going to lean toward the New York Mets winning that game outright for some money line cash. Next matchup, O's Reds, 6:40 p.m. East. Both teams are -110 with the total at 9. Dean Kramer for Baltimore, Tyler Mahle for Cincinnati. Now, Mahle's just 4-7 on the year with an ERA in the 4s. The Reds have also lost 3 out of their last 4 ball games, and they strike out more times a game than most clubs in the National League. They're also going up against Dean Kramer, who's got a 3.06 ERA. He's only lost 2 games this year. The O's have also won 5 out of their last 7 ball games, and they average 5 runs a game in those victories. Anthony Santander is leading the club in homers and runs batted in. When it comes to the scoring in this one, 3 out of Baltimore's last 4 road games got over the total. Meanwhile, Cincy saw overs recently against the likes of Miami and St. Louis. I'm going to lean toward the Orioles -110 and the over 9. Next contest, it is going to be Stros, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. The Houston Astros are -195, totals 8 runs. Framber Valdez for Houston, Chris Flexen for the Seattle Mariners. Now, Flexen's lost 8 games this season and has a whip of 1.37. Seattle's also had a tough time getting on base this season. They're hitting just .235 as a team, and they're also in the top 10 in scoring. They're also squaring off against Framber Valdez here today, who's 9-4 in the year with a 2.74 ERA. The lefty's also struck out 110 batters and has a whip of just 1.14. And even if Frommer has his hands full here today, this is an Astros lineup who can certainly hit it out of the park at any given moment. They're currently in the top 3 in homers, and they're led by Yordan Alvarez, who's 3rd in the league with 30 home runs. Now, even more impressive than that, Alvarez is currently leading the big leagues right now with a 1.110 OPS. Now, when it comes to the numbers, 6 out of these teams' last 10 meetings did fall under the posted total. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. The Astros are also 65% to the under in their divisional ball games. Meanwhile, Seattle on the other side, they've gone 60% to the under against the AL West themselves. I'm going to lean toward Houston, -1.5, and the under 8. Next ball game, it is going to be A's White Sox, 7:15 Eastern start time. Chicago's -170 at home, totals 8 runs. Johnny Cueto for the Chi Sox, Paul Blackburn for Oakland. Now, Blackburn's seen his ERA creep up into the 4s here recently. The righty's currently got himself an ERA of 4.35. The A's have also had significant problems at the plate this year collectively. Maybe not recently, but just overall in the grand, scheme of things, they are collectively bad hitting the baseball. They're currently dead last in team batting average, dead last in OPS. They're squaring off against Johnny Cueto, who comes into today's start with a 2.89 ERA and a 1.19 whip. The White Sox have also done a real nice job at the plate this year. They're amongst the league leaders in fewest strikeouts per 9 at the dish. They're also in the top 5 in team batting average. Timmy Anderson's hitting .310 at the plate this year. Meanwhile, Luis Robert, he's the team leader in homers and RBI. Now, when it comes to the scoring, the Sox saw their last 5 straight ball games at Guaranteed Rate Field get over the line. Meanwhile, the A's saw 4 out of their last 5 ball games get over the total as well. I'm going to lean toward the Chicago White Sox -1.5 and the over 8. Next ball game, it is going to be Cards Nats, 7:15 East. St. Louis is -150, totals 9. Dakota Hudson for St. Louis, Eric Fedde for Washington. Now, Feds continues to struggle with control. He's walked nearly 50 batters already, and he also has a 1.54 whip. And no real surprise here, guys. Fedde's got himself a losing record right now, and an ERA just about in the 5s. He's also backed by Washington hitters who can barely get the ball out of the infield. These guys are currently second to last in home runs, and they're scoring only 3.9 runs a game. Now, they're squaring off against a Cardinals team on the other side of things, who's certainly no stranger to hitting the baseball. These guys are currently in the top 10 in the majors right now in scoring, top 10 in OPS. Paul Goldschmidt's also second in the majors right now in batting average. The first baseman's hitting .334 at the dish. And he also ranks 3rd in the league with a 1.030 OPS. Now, when it comes to the total, oddly enough, 4 out of St. Louis's last 6 road games fell under the number. They're also 61% to the under for the entire season while traveling. Meanwhile, the Nats on the other side, they saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with the Cards fall under the total as well. So once again, guys, if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around in this one. I'm going to go ahead and lean towards St. Louis -1.5 and the under 9. Next ball game, Phil's Buccos, 7:15 East. The Philadelphia Fightin' Phillies are -160, totals 8 runs. Ranger Suarez for the Fightins, Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. Now, Keller's been pretty bad for the Pirates here this year. He's just 3-7 with an ERA in the 4s. The righty also has a whip of 1.42. And even if Keller surprises us here today, these Pirate hitters haven't been all too impressive. These guys are currently second to last in team batting average, and they're scoring less than 3.7 runs a game. They're also going up against Ranger Suarez, who's 7-5 on the year with a 3.84 ERA. Meanwhile, as a team, Phillies won 4 out of their last 5 ball games, and they averaged nearly 6.5 runs a game in those victories. Kyle Schwarber leads the National League in homers with 32 of them. Meanwhile, Alec Boehm's the team leader in batting average. The third baseman is hitting just about 300 at the plate. Now, total-wise, the Phils went 70% to the over in their last 10 outings. They're also averaging 6 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Pittsburgh. And in those 10 head-to-head meetings I just discussed there, 6 out of those games did get over the posted total. So I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Philadelphia, minus 160 in the over 8. Next game, Twins, Padres, 7:15 Eastern first pitch. San Diego's minus 135, total 7.5. Joe Musgrove for San Diego, Sonny Gray for Minnesota. Now, Gray is having a solid season thus far. He's got a 2.52 ERA and a 1.10 whip. The Twins are also doing a nice job hitting the baseball. They're currently in the top 10 in homers, top 10 in OPS. Luis Arias is leading the majors with a 336 batting average at the plate. Meanwhile, Byron Buxton's 6th in the majors with 25 homers. Now, they're taking on a Padres team who's been little threat hitting for power. The Pods are currently in the bottom 5 in baseball in home runs per 9 at the plate. And when it comes to interleague play, the Pods actually lost 5 out of their last 8 against the American League. Now, total-wise, San Diego's a perfect 8-0 to the over in their last 8 interleague games. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the Twins have gone 5-1 to the over in their last 6 interleague games on the road. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Minnesota, plus a $1.15 in the over 7.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Diamondbacks taking on the Braves, and that's going to be a 7:20 Eastern start time. Atlanta's the $2.30 favorite, totals 9.5. Ian Anderson for Atlanta, Corbin Martin for Arizona. Now, Martin comes into today's ball game with just 18-plus innings of work, along with a 1.64 whip. Now, the D-backs have also consistently struggled to get on base this year. They're actually batting just .226 as a team, which is in the bottom 3 in all of baseball. Now, they're also squaring off against an Atlanta team on the other side who can pretty much score with the best of them. These guys currently find themselves in the top 5 in runs per game. And they're also leading the National League in home runs. Now, Austin Riley's 4th in the majors with 29 homers. Riley's also in the top 10 in both RBI and OPS. When it comes to the number, Atlanta went 9-1 to the over in their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, Arizona saw overs recently against the likes of San Francisco, Washington, and San Diego. I'm going to lean toward Atlanta minus 1.5 in the over 9.5. Next ball game, Dodgers, Rockies, 8:10 Eastern first pitch. The LA Dodgers are minus 240, totals 11.5. Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Now, Freeland's just 5-7 on the season with an ERA of 4.64. And that's really not all that surprising considering the Rockies pitching staff as a whole. They've been terrible. I don't know how else to put it. They have the fewest strikeouts in the majors right now. And they're also allowing just about 5.5 runs a game. They're also taking on arguably the best hitting lineup in baseball. These guys are currently leading the bigs in OPS. And they're also first in the National League in scoring. Freddie Freeman's hitting a team-best .319 at the dish. Meanwhile, teammate Mookie Betts, he leads the franchise in homers with 23 of them. When it comes to the total, the Dodgers have averaged just about 5 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Colorado. Meanwhile, the Rockies, on the other side of things, they saw overs recently with the likes of Milwaukee and this very Dodger team. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Los Angeles minus 1.5 and the over 8.5. Next matchup, Cubs, Giants, 9:05 East. San Francisco's the $1.30 favorite, totals 8 runs. Jake Junis for the Giants, Drew Smyly for Chicago. And even though Smiley's thrown some strong innings this year, he really doesn't have the wins to show for it. He's got just 3 wins on the year and obviously a losing record. And despite how hot they've been here recently, especially since the All-Star break, the Cubbies still struggle with strikeouts at the plate. These guys are currently in the bottom 10 in the league right now in strikeouts per 9 in the box. They're also taking on Jake Junis here today, who's got a 4-2 record and an ERA in the 2s. Now, Junis also has a whip of just 1.01. As a matter of fact, this Giants pitching staff as a whole, they do a great job of keeping the ball inside the park. They're currently leading the big leagues right now in fewest home runs allowed per 9. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, the Giants are averaging 6 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Chicago. So if you're into historical trends, another thing to think about there. I'm going to lean towards San Francisco minus 130 and the over 8 runs. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It is going to be Rangers-Angels, 9:07 Eastern start time. The LA Angels are minus 120, totals 8.5. Chase Silseth for Los Angeles, Glenn Otto for Texas. Now, the Rangers won their last 2 straight, and both of those victories just happened to be against the Angels. They actually held the Angels to just 2 total runs in those wins. And at any given time, guys, the Rangers are a legit threat to hit the long ball. These guys are in the top 10 in the majors in homers. Of course, Corey Seager's the club leader with 23 bombs on the year. Meanwhile, Dallas Garcia leads the franchise in runs batted in with 62. Now, they're going up against Chase Silseth, who's just 1-3 on the year with an ERA close to 6. The Angels have also dropped 7 out of their last 10 ball games, and they strike out more times per contest than any other team in the majors, really struggling to make contact with the baseball. Now, when it comes to the total, 9 out of these teams' last 10 meetings with each other got over the number. And as a matter of fact, in those contests, the Rangers are averaging nearly 6 runs a game. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward Texas plus $1 and the over 8.5. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap for Saturday, July 30th, 2022. And as always, our quick pick recap is powered to you by my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where I'm currently 3-0 my last 3 extra daily bets on that website. Give me Tampa Bay minus 130 over 7.5. I like the Yankees minus 1.5 over 8.5. Give me Toronto minus 1.5 under 8.5 runs. I like Milwaukee minus $1.10 over 10 runs. Give me the Mets winning that game outright for some money line cash. I like Baltimore minus $1.10 over 9. Give me Houston minus 1.5 under 8 runs. I like the White Sox minus 1.5 over 8. Give me St. Louis minus 1.5 under 9. I like Philadelphia minus 160 over 8 runs. Give me Minnesota plus $1.15 over 7.5. I like Atlanta minus 1.5 over 9.5. Give me the Dodgers minus 1.5 over 11.5 runs. I like San Francisco minus 130 over 8. And with my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean toward Texas plus $1 and the over 8.5 runs. If that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today, just keep in mind, you are going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. I do always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And guys, if you want to get access to every single pick, every single package, every single day, you're going to want to sign up for my board member package. It's an all-inclusive membership. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I certainly do look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.